Welcome to my Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. Join Larissa and Malerie as they explore biohacking tips for women based on the latest science and research available today. Let them help you unlock your best self. It's time to hack smarter, not harder, together.
All right, welcome to my Wellness Rewired. Today we are talking about one of our current experiments that we are working on, and it is grounding. And to me, grounding was always, I want to say woo-woo, but it sounded woo-woo. It was almost like too simple to really be effective. You're like, really? Does really going and standing out with bare feet in nature really do that impact on your life? Does it really help you with anti-inflammatory issues in your body? Does it really help with your anxiety and all the different things in life? So I was very skeptical, and Mallory wanted to do this. And so she's like, I'm really interested in this. We're going to do it. So, of course, I said,
Right.
yes, after a lot of grief I gave her. Then I said yes. And so we are currently in our experimental process of grounding. So we wanted to bring this to you to see if you guys wanted to join us in the experiment and do it with us. And so that's what our talk is going to be today, all about grounding and the impact it can have on your everyday life as a woman.
Yeah, this one's really funny because, first of all, yes, there was a lot of making fun of me on Larissa's part. So let's just put that out there. But also, I was the same way when I first heard about it because I still remember when my brother-in-law got married, we're at his wedding. And my sister-in-law took her shoes off and she was like, you need to ground with the earth. Like take your shoes off and just stand in the grass. It's so good for you. And I was like, oh my gosh, what happened to Kimmy? Like she turned so crunchy. So shout out to Kimmy because I love her to death. And Chris and I were like, what? I'm like, she turned into a hippie. Like, what? That can't be real. And then I kid you not, like maybe a year or two later, we're doing all this research into stuff that just, helps. This is the stuff we're interested in. We're looking for things to like reduce inflammation and manage stress. And lo and behold, grounding / also known as earthing comes up. And we were like, huh, she really knew what she was talking about. And then I had to apologize for making fun of her for it. So
Little did you know, you're going to be like, Kimmy, you are 100% correct. Thank you for showing us the way before everybody else was into it.
actually, when I saw her in California, I told her that in person. I was like, hey, just so you know, I totally made fun of you for this and you were totally right. So thank you for introducing it to me in the first place.
Does she ground now? Is she still grounding?
I think she is. I think I'm pretty sure she still is. She's still way into all the stuff. So we had a great conversation because she got everything that we were researching. She's been, already going down a lot of those rabbit holes. So it was a really great time to catch up. But
Well, I love it because the grounding, earthing thing is free or low cost to no cost. Literally, it is so inexpensive, and so anybody can do it. And I love that about it. It's not, and it's getting out in nature, which we've already done forest bathing. So it is
right.
it is definitely along those same elements where it's just drawing energy from the earth. Do you want to go more into actually what it does for you?
Yeah. So let's talk about what grounding is, first of all, because grounding, or also called earthing, it's kind of one of the simplest, lowest cost tools, right? This is a free thing that you can do. There are, investment options, which we'll talk about later, but you can also just do it for free by standing outside. But you want to go to the most conductive parts of the earth. So if you're standing on like landscaping that has landscaping fabric, that's not really going to be conductive in the way that like dirt or grass, like natural elements will be. And the idea is that you're making direct skin contact with the earth. So you're bare feet on the ground or on natural stone or something like that. And it's plugging into the earth. And what it's doing is that the earth is going to pass to you free electrons. And so that's going to basically rebalance like where your body is experiencing like oxidative stress or inflammation, like you're imbalanced in your electrical charges in your body. And so it's going to give you these free protons that balance things again. And that's supposed to help with things like stress and cortisol and PMS symptoms and all these things, and inflammation especially. And so you can do the same thing with grounding mats, is what our research is telling us, where you're plugging into a grounded outlet and it's like a grounding mat or a grounding like throw blanket or pillow, and it's supposed to simulate the same thing. And there's been a lot of success with it, I think, in from what we've heard anecdotally. So not crazy strong on the science, but if you really think about it, like think of your body like a phone that's been running on low battery all day. You're in rubber soled shoes, you're in concrete buildings, you're around a lot of EMFs and, all these different other frequencies going on. And then the earth is just a giant free charging station. And so it's just full of negative electrons. And so when you touch it, those electrons flow in like the natural antioxidants. It's like plugging yourself into a charger. And they're going to neutralize free radicals. They're going to reduce oxidative stress, and then it can help rebalance your body's, electrical systems, which I had never really before the last couple of weeks of our research into a few biohacking technologies thought of our bodies as an electrical system. But that's really
Mhm.
how it is. And so it totally
Yeah.
makes sense that, grounding would be something that can actually help you.
Well, the word grounding literally is going to if there's electricity, you need like that grounding component to make it safe. And it
Yes.
centers it so that it's not dangerous, right? So it kind of literally grounds you. So when you are grounding, you feel grounded in your whole body's healing processes and in natural processes. When if you're not grounded, then that's where the inflammation goes up, your cortisol goes up, like everything kind of gets inflamed. I think of it as a fire, it does like an
Yes.
explosion. But then when it's grounded and then it's safe and the electrical currents run steadily and smooth the way they're supposed to do.
Yeah, it's so interesting because when I was a kid, we lived in the desert and I never wore shoes all summer. Like I never wore shoes and I played outside all day. And I remember having to go to school and how suffocated I felt having to put shoes on to go to school. This is a very clear memory I have from, I don't know, first or second grade, I swear. But I just remember that it felt so unnatural and I felt like I was suffocating having shoes on. And it would make sense that I was spending so much time connected that it was actually very natural and it was unnatural to disconnect myself from the earth.
Because you were getting
So
energy, you were getting positively charged from it.
yeah,
And I
or
think it's
negatively, right?
interesting.
Because you get negative charges from the earth.
I meant positive feelings.
Sorry.
I meant positive vibes.
Right, right, right. I get it now. I was like, "That's not right, Larissa."
And you are correct. As far as the science base, I was not correct. But as far as the emotional support, which is what I was referring to.
Positive vibes, yes.
Well, and so the point I was gonna try to make is that I think the thing that is so interesting about grounding is we are all on one planet, on one earth, and we all get energy from the sun, and the sun gives our producers energy and they do photosynthesis and they make their energy, and then consumers get the producers. It's like we're all in this ecosystem and in the cycles, and it all makes us feel connected. I feel when you
Yeah.
actually touch the ground, like we're all feeding into the energy that thousands of people around the world and plants and animals, and we're all connected. And I like thinking of that when I'm grounding.
Yeah, no, I completely agree, and it makes a lot of sense, like, I was listening to a podcast, because I freaking love podcasts, and it was with the original creator, I think, of the grounding mats. What's his name? It's, I wrote it down, Clint Ober. And he was
Yes.
talking about, he made a really good point that if you look out in nature, the animal kingdom, like cancer is not a thing. It's in the animal world, it basically doesn't exist until you look at pets who are living in our homes with us. And then what were the statistics? Cancer's huge among cats and dogs, right, that live in the home with us, and cancer's huge among humans who are so disconnected from nature that we never go out and just stand and connect with the earth. And we've never in our culture of, in the United States, it's not really even a thing to consider. There's all
Yeah.
the comforts of home. Why would we go stand outside in the dirt?
Yeah. Yeah. Oh, that's true.
But there's a
Yeah. Because
connection there, right? Like
yeah.
that seems really suspicious, guys. That's all I'm saying.
Yeah, because he was saying that it was 50% of animals who move into the house. Like we think we're keeping them safe by moving them in and making them indoor pets instead of outdoor pets. And then
Yeah.
like their significant rise, 50% of them will get cancer just by moving from outdoor to indoor.
Yeah, isn't that crazy? Really makes you think
Yeah.
about what we're doing to ourselves too.
Ah, yeah, exactly. It's so interesting. So
So
I'm
that is
very,
why we
yeah,
are doing this experiment. So,
yeah, I'm excited. I think that anytime you can get out in nature, I don't think you can go wrong with your soul at all, or your feel goods, your positive vibes,
yeah.
not positive charging.
Right. Good clarification.
Yeah.
Yeah, no, I agree. So let's talk about what the soft science or the little we were able to find claims that it will do. And anecdotally, this is highly supported. So it's supposed to help with cortisol and stress regulation. There was a 2004 study that showed grounding during sleep did lower nighttime cortisol and normalize the daily rhythm, right? Like this is supposed to be huge for normalizing your circadian rhythm, especially noticeable in women, which I thought was interesting. So and this will give you breathing room. Like we know the importance of sleep. This gives you room for estrogen, progesterone, thyroid, and insulin to just function better and to flow better in your body.
And for women specifically, it helps with PMS specific relief. So it helps with reduction in cramps, bloating, mood swings, irritability, breast tenderness, cravings. When women slept grounded, they all decreased. They were all reduced. So that I think is very powerful.
That's the one that I'm testing, okay? Because I'm real tired of this merry-go-round, let me just say. So I will be keeping tabs on symptoms. I will be tracking because I am, you can tell what time of the month it is. That's all I'm going to say.
Well, in our tracking sheet too, we created a tracking sheet for ourselves to measure this. And so it's an experiment and a process. So we'll share it with you guys. But as we should add that column to cycle sync. So then it would be
Ooh,
interesting to see. You just made me think of that. We should add a
yeah.
column to cycle sync just so that we know our own cycle and where we were when we felt certain things and see if we notice a pattern when we're done.
Oh, I will absolutely be doing that. That's a fantastic idea.
Yeah.
I like it. Okay. It also is supposed to help with sleep improvement. You're supposed to be able to go to sleep faster, have deeper rest, wake up fewer times. And this is one that, again, anecdotally was hugely um, supported. So many people talked about, I feel like it was less pain and just less chronic pain generally, and then better sleep were the two really big things. So, very excited about the potential for that. And inflammation, obviously, being the cause of pain. So, that was the big thing.
Do you think it will help with my bags and my lymphatic drainage?
Should have gotten that red light therapy, Larissa.
I
I'm just
know.
saying.
Every time I look in the mirror now, that's what I think about.
Oh,
Oh.
dang it.
So
We'll
if
call
you
that
haven't
guy.
listened to our Biohackers World episode, that is where that comes from.
Yes.
Um,
A
and
hilarious story, by the way.
for others, not for me.
Yeah. But inflammation is actually, it could actually help your bags. Just FYI. I mean, really think about it. But for real though, it really could make a big difference for your eyes because when we did all of our research on skin health, like we know how big of a villain inflammation is for your glowing skin, right? And so
Yeah,
like that, just the fact that grounding has the potential to reduce inflammation in your system, it's got to help your skin.
yeah. Anytime you
Very
can take
exciting.
away the inflammation and put out the fires, I feel like that's a plus.
Yeah, for everything.
Yeah.
But I mean, if we're gonna be, gonna be a little vain. I would like my skin to glow. So,
In the original scientist in this field, Mr. Ober,
um, Clint Ober.
Clint Ober, he was original scientist in this area, and he talked a lot about when as they were doing these scientific experiments, then he would do it on people, and then people would come back and be like, "I want this from my mom. I want this from my aunt." Like they came back, and because he was experimenting with different fabrics and different types of things, so he randomly went into business, not intentionally, but intentionally trying to help people. And once he discovered all of this, and so he has a grounding mat you put on your bed.
Mhm.
And he was saying how they tried it and their HRV, which is like your rest and digest, it shot up really, really high. And they also had an aura ring. And so they were comparing, and it was really interesting that being grounded helped your HRV zoom up. So I like that concept as well, that it would really help with HRV because there's a lot of things that's hard to help with
Yeah.
it.
Well, HRV is proving to be very tricky for sure on
Yeah.
how to, like, it just takes a lot of little things being consistently improved. But I'm very curious to see how grounding is going to affect the HRV because I've managed to get mine a little higher. I'm very proud of my progress, but it is nowhere near where I want it to be. I haven't even doubled it yet. So maybe it'll get me, over that hump.
What did you tell me? Yoga Nidra?
Hmm.
That definitely boosts mine up, but not as high as I wanted, but it definitely improved. And then I'm hoping this will help go to another level and just be less fight or
Yes.
flight. And it helps with, your nervous system and a calmer mind and your emotional support. Because HRV is a
Right.
direct correlation to the amount of stress you have in your life for sure.
And your resilience against stress, right? Because like
Yes.
that's basically what it's saying is your stress killing you slowly or are you be building resilience in your life? And I feel like that's the direct indicator of that. And so um I this is supposed to be very promising for that. Another reason why we're experimenting with it. So, yeah, I'm very excited for that one. We're going to be tracking that for sure because we both track our HRVs. So, although I will say that this week, my Aura ring, because I've been sleep deprived with flying back home from California and everything. My Aura ring like gave me an award. It was like, hey, like you've taken the next step on resilience, even though you've been through a lot. Like your body's responding really well to the stress. And I was like, yay, this is such a big deal.
Thanks you or a ring.
Yeah, right. You are the best, buddy.
Thanks for cheering me on, my Aura ring.
Yeah, it may tell us we're being lazy and to get up when we're being sitting around for too long, but it also cheers us on when we make some progress.
That's really funny. I know I really wasn't into HRV until getting the Oura Ring, and now it's making me very much more in tune with my body and what impacts it and what doesn't impact it. So things that I didn't really think would has. So it's been a journey.
Yeah, I think for me, I could really feel that I wasn't handling stress well. I just
Mm,
felt unwell. And it was before we even started this podcast. And so I think it's honestly a big thing that took me down this road. I didn't know that it was my HRV or I didn't know that that indicator was there. Right. And
mm,
so now that we've gone down this path, I'm like, I was feeling. And so every day that I've felt really terrible, my HRV has been in the toilet. And I'm like, this is
yeah,
a direct relation to how terrible I've been feeling, which means that my body's just been treated so poorly or not. I haven't really done all the things that you need to, right? The foundations. And so it was speaking and I was just hearing, but I wasn't understanding. And so this has given me so much more understanding. It's been really huge.
yeah. No, I agree. So I'm very
Yeah.
excited to see what grounding. So now let's go to our grounding experiment. So what are you doing for
Yes.
our experiment? Are you stacking it with anything? What's your routine going to be?
Yes.
Order.
So the peak, like synergistic pairing that you can do with grounding is your morning sunlight.
Mm,
Because there's some thought out there that the two actually help strengthen each other by doing them together. So when you're getting your morning sunlight and you're grounding while you get your morning sunlight, they say 10 to 30 minutes is ideally what you want, somewhere in that range. It's huge on your circadian rhythms reset, right? And so that's going to be my plan. Is I have to take my dog out potty every morning anyway. I take him out and I get some morning sun. It's getting warmer outside, so I can be outdoors and I can take my shoes off and I can ground walking around the yard with my dog getting some morning sunlight. So it pairs perfectly. What about you?
I am not very good about grounding consistently. So that's what I've learned about myself. So I do have a swing in the backyard that I love to sit on and ground. That is fun, but I don't always have the time or the mood to do that.
Right.
So
Clint Ober.
I'm going to try to purchase Clint Ober's bed mat because it's more on the, it's only like, I want to say $219 or something. Don't quote me on this.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's a couple of $100 for the bed mat. I'm going to try to get that on the bed, um, on my bed, and I'm going to see that. I'm going to try to go outside and ground 2 to 4 times a week, and then sleep
Oh,
on that. And that's my plan because I have not been very successful with going outside. and doing it naturally. When I'm camping and doing all that stuff in nature, it's easy to do. And I do it for hours all day long, every day. But on a day to day basis, I'm finding myself unsuccessful with that so far.
Yeah, I think that's a really good idea. And I might do the same thing because I feel like if we're really going to experiment with grounding, I don't know if 10 to 30 minutes is enough to, because they say the more that you do, the faster you have results.
Really?
And for reference, if you're doing 10 to 30 minutes a day, you should start to feel the effects like more calming effects, feeling less, puffy or inflamed. Like it should help with those things pretty quickly within a couple of days. But they say within 2 weeks, you will notice more significant changes or improvements. But obviously, the more you do, the faster you have results. So that's what I like about your idea, Larissa, is that if we were to get the mats and ground outside, we're going to be really hitting full throttle on grounding
Yeah.
and tracking our symptoms. And maybe we can have some real information to come back with on the show.
And I really want to also observe my kids with it because I'm interested to see if it also helps lower my kids' anxiety and different things that they're, like your life. Because I feel like what you've talked about many times on this podcast, that kids in general, or everyone in general in this modern society, is really anxiety heavy, and so it
Yeah,
would be for me to subtly, like, I don't even know if I'm going to tell my kids, like I'll put it on their mattress and like just see if I notice a difference
that's
in how
such
they
a good
react.
idea.
Yeah, like, why not? Why
Yeah,
not? Because if it could help them, it'd be worth it.
I agree. I have a 10-year-old who, gets really anxious when it's time to go to sleep. I think it's a very common kid thing to like get to the end of the day and your thoughts are racing and it's really hard to like self-regulate. Like maybe this could help. That would be huge.
Yeah, so I think I am gonna try that because it would be interesting from a mom's perspective to
Yeah,
help them, and I just wanna see if I notice it, and I don't even think I'm really gonna tell them. I think I'm just gonna do it.
I think it's a great idea. Okay, so I think that we're going to do this for I want to do this for a full 6 weeks. I guess we didn't
Okay.
really talk about an end time, but I feel like check in every 2 weeks and we're keeping our symptom tracker. And the idea is to just see, with the rest of our routine staying the same, like we have our daily protocols. We're just adding this. We'll see if it makes any difference. And our idea is to come back and do like a part 2 episode where we can kind of talk about real life experience and findings.
Yeah, I'm excited. I think that is my love language. I love actually trying it for myself and then, does this really work? Is this really impacting me? And how can I shift it? Because I do know when I'm out in nature and I'm actually grounding and camping and stuff, that's what I love about it, is I feel all of that. But when you're in the city and you live in the city most of your life, most of the weeks out of the year, months out of the year, then I want to see if I can get it more connected to nature. So I love it. I'm totally on board, even though I did totally make fun of you and initially, and I thought it was very woo woo.
The apology, you all heard it. It officially happened.
I think I will apologize even more once we get our results and say this definitely is a game changer.
Yeah, I am pretty excited because just incorporating daily morning sunlight has really, really helped with my energy levels. And so I'm excited about combining those two. And especially, in the summertime when the garden really gets going, I'm out there every day checking on the plants anyway. So my phase 2 plan is to eventually this summer, I really want to build in a grounding area around my garden beds. And I mean, we're talking about a tiny space. Like this isn't anything fancy, but it would be really cool to be like walk barefoot, and spend 20 minutes just taking care of my plants and talking to them because that does help people. Okay. And
Woo
it's gonna be
woo.
really cool. I'm excited about it. It
Yeah, no,
does
I
help.
think
There's actually studies that have shown the plants grow way better when you talk nice to them.
everybody grows nicer when you talk nicer to them.
It's true. It's so
No, I
true. Why would
agree.
plants be
I'm
any different?
like your kids, your plants, your animals, your family members, your husbands, your wives, you're like everybody. Everybody feels better when you talk nicer to them.
Oh, it's so true. It is so true.
Oh, that's funny. But no,
Uh,
I'm on board with all of it, and we'll definitely put it up on our website, the guide and our tracker, and you can check it out if it speaks to you. If you want to join us, it'd be very fun. And as always, we love hearing the input and the experiments that you do with us, because we're definitely learning as we go.
Yeah, for sure. Go to mywellnessrewired.com, get the freebie and try it with us. We would love to have some back and forth, some conversation about everybody's experience about it, with it, not just ours. So please join us. And remember, grounding isn't magic. It's not a magic pill, but it is one of the easiest and mostly free ways to support the exact systems that are the most stressed by modern life, right? And that would be, women's hormones, cortisol, combat inflammation, improve your sleep, and, help with some nervous system balance, which I feel like is what so many of us these days need. So we're going to give it a try. We'll report back, and hopefully it will be amazing, results for you, but we'll be honest. So fingers crossed. And remember, ladies, that our mission is simple: to help you truly know your body and take ownership of your health one biohack at a time. And our own family health struggles have pushed us deep into this journey, and what we've learned has changed everything. So we're here to share it with as many women as possible. If this episode lit a spark for you or made you think of an incredible woman in your life, please share it, hit like, give us a review, spread the glow, and bring some health inspiration to the women in your life. And until next time, we'll catch you later. Perfect partnership.
Teamwork.
Outdoors and take my feet off. My feet off. Let me just take my feet off. So I could. Oh, you got your hand. I don't have mine. I'm glad you have yours. As possible. If this episode lit a spark for you, or all right, you wellness rock stars, that's a wrap on this episode of My Wellness Rewired, Hacking Women's Health. We've had a blast dishing out the hacks and laughs, but hold up, let's keep it real.
Yep, we are not doctors. We are just sharing our biohacking adventures and learning right alongside you. Nothing we say is medical advice, so always check with your healthcare provider before trying any new wellness tricks.
Absolutely. This podcast is all about inspiration and entertainment, not prescriptions. So join our Facebook group for more sassy wellness vibes. Catch you next time.